Hello, friend. I'm Karen McFarlane-Holman.
And I'm Brian Hart.
Welcome to 10 Bestest. I have a question for you. What does Kafkaesque mean?
And I am going to be sharing a beautiful way to deal with grief. Let's get to it.
My cool sheet now is a video, and it is called What Makes Something Kafkaesque? The adjective Kafkaesque is fairly new, and it is talking about something that is unnecessarily complicated and frustrating kinds of experiences. This is where we are forced to navigate bureaucracy, huge piles of confusing paperwork, long waiting lines. All of this comes out of Franz Kafka, a very well-known writer, author who has just really infiltrated society with the ideas and themes that come from the stories that he has written. He worked as an insurance clerk and lived a life surrounded by all those things, that bureaucracy and stuff. And from his life, he wrote the short stories and the books with these themes of alienation, of existential anxiety, of guilt, and of complete absurdity. Because his stories are so relatable in their negativity in a realm of this kind of terrible but true, they are often put into the genre of tragic comedy that so many of us can relate to. Many of his characters become trapped in circular reasoning, and their own mind is almost as big as the demon of the situation that they are in. And so in this video, it goes through some examples of this. And one of them that's discussed is from my favorite Kafka book, The Metamorphosis. This is where Gregor, this white collar worker, wakes up as a cockroach, and his greatest worry is making it to work on time. Then there's also the famous story by Kafka, The Trial, and where the cause of the protagonist, his arrest, nor the trial proceedings are ever known. And so in this storyline, the justice system is not serving justice, but rather instead it is its whole function is just to self-perpetuate itself. Again, absurdity. So with all of this, we can then reflect on this world that we live in, and there are wonderful themes in here, and Kafka reminds us that we do create them. And so there's a little snippet there of positivity in the end. So again, this video talks about what makes something Kafkaesque.
Ooh, I like that. And Kafka is one of those things that you hear about, and if you don't know his exact work, you're always like, I remember the time where it kind of clicked, and I'm like, oh, now I got it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And this sounds super interesting. So, and I think this is a video that you shared in the show notes,
It's
right?
a video, yep. And so it's
cool.
Yeah, and it comes from TED-Ed.
Yeah.
Yep. And the thing I like about, because I actually considered having Franz Kafka himself as a cool sheet and talking about him, but I like this because it's 5 minutes. You dive in, you learn about Kafka, you learn about some of the stories, and you learn about what it means, this term Kafkaesque that we do here. I feel like especially even more so nowadays, but and then you can take that idea and more effectively use it in your life and think about it.
Yeah, very, very cool. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, you're welcome.
I'm going to check it out. And it's a shorter video too, which is nice.
5 minutes, you can do
that. I can do it. All right. All right, well, I'm going to be talking about a toolkit, and this is called the Artist's Grief Deck. Now, this was developed during COVID-19, and because COVID-19 has presented unique challenges among natural disasters to human culture, it also lost experience on numerous levels, and it is ongoing. At time of recording, we're still dealing with this. And the response was this Artist's Grief Deck, and it's a set of 60 medium format flashcards that are individually designed by artists, sometimes in collaboration with grief workers. So one side displays the original artwork created by the artist from around the world. These are artists from around the world, responding to an open call. And then the reverse is a grieving prompt. So these are actions given to an individual to do something. So a gesture, a tiny performance, a movement, an act of mindfulness, to think about someone that you've lost or something that you've lost and any reason why you might be grieving. As a toolkit, these decks have been given and dispersed for free to grief workers and community organizations, which I love. You can also purchase them on their website, or you could just go to the website and look at everything for free. So it's they're giving this information, these tools to as many people as they can, because we're all dealing with this pandemic in a different way. And that's one of the things that actually kind of took me a little bit to realize that this pandemic is affecting people in different ways and in different degrees. And it's more than just physically. Obviously, there's loss and things like that, but just mental health has really been suffering from this, and again, in different ways. We have extreme solitude, lack of social activities, just elevated awkwardness, definitely stronger political divide. Just emotions are higher, and these cards can really help you out. So definitely check out the Artist's Grief Deck.
Wow. What I love about this is how it acknowledges the different types of grief that there
absolutely.
can be.
Yeah.
And it harkens back to a couple episodes ago. I talked about disenfranchised grief.
Yes, exactly.
And just that there are these different things. It doesn't always have to be a death, which is always seen as like the biggest type of grief,
Right.
that it can be all sorts of other things that you can lose or that you miss or anything else. So this sounds like a powerful way to just work through it.
Yeah, and since everybody grieves differently and in different degrees, this will have something that will speak to you, I think, in the way that you're grieving. Like some of the cards are so cool. So one is instructions for becoming a cloud.
I love that.
It's so cool. And then no right way to grieve is another one. When the tears won't come. So that's actually one that I deal with a lot, is I feel this enormous amount of grief for something or someone, but I just can't get it out. Like I don't know what it is. I just don't cry a lot sometimes. And then when I do, though, usually it's pretty messy. So I really liked that one because it kind of gave you some steps to maybe get to that place, because it is a huge release and it does help, I think. There's also a grief doll. There's just so many different cool things. So definitely check out the website and maybe even get the deck for yourself. Yeah, it's really cool.
Love it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I think I will be checking that one out. I also wanted to mention the show notes.
Oh, yes.
Are 10bestest.com/strip. Thank you for joining us. I'm Karen McFarland Holman.
And I'm Brian Hart.
I have a question. Have you read any Kafka books, and which ones?
And let me know if you're going through a difficult time, and if you've looked at this grief deck, if it's helped you.
And please like and tell a friend if you've enjoyed 10 Bestest.
And stay tuned tomorrow for another show.
Stay curious.